Dear learners, welcome back to my channel. Now, in the last video, we have learned about creating relationship and data modeling basics. So I'll just go with the summary of what we have learned in the previous video. So in the previous video, I have taught you about the relationship that exists between different data tables. Let's say, for example, we have something known as order table in which the sales transaction has been recorded. So we have a unique sales order ID which is 43660, which is placed on order date, that is 2nd of July 2017, and the customer who has placed the order is 117. Now this is the identification of the customer. Who is the salesperson who has placed the order? So it is 276. Now we don't know who is this 276, and the subtotal of order is 1294.25. Similarly, we have something known as customer table where where the information or the data of customer is getting recorded. So if we check out the customer table, we'll see 117, which is a pedal warehouse which is situated in United States. If we go to the salesperson ID and we'll check out the sales employee ID, which is 276. So we have one table known as staff table 276, who is Linda Michelle. And similarly, if we go by the item list, then we get two items which is captured 758 and 762. And if we go into the product table, then we'll see it's a road 450 and road 650, which is bikes. Then in the order item, if we see the unit price is getting captured and quantity is getting captured, and you will have something known as the line total, which is basically revenue that is getting captured into it. So today in this video, we are going to learn about this relationship between different data tables and what this data table look like. So now let me open my data file. So my data file is something which is Adventure Works. Now Adventure Works is into the business to business marketing, and they are the manufacturer of bicycles. Now if you see here, we have this data and we have this information which is getting captured. The first thing that we'll see is, let's say for example, we'll check out the customers data. If you see, this is our customer data. So here there is some title which is given customers. If you see, then these are the variables which are there. If you see customer ID, store name, account number, address line 1, address line 2, city, postal code, state, country code, and country. So these are the field list or basically header which are available into our data set. Now our data is already formatted into the table format. Now, what is this table format? How you get to know that whether your data is in table format? So whenever you inside the data set, if you click it, you will see table design tab which is visible. So you see the name of table itself is given customer. So this is already in a tabular data format where the headers are defined. The first row is always header, and you have something known as a record, right? So if you see, we the first one is customer ID, which is identification of customer. Then we have store name, then we have account number, then we have address line 2, city, postal code, state, country code, country. So these are the data which is captured in customer table or customer dimension. Then the second we have is a product data. So if you see in the product data, the first one we are having is known as the product ID. Now this is also in a table format. If you see table design to tab is visible. Now if you go and click on the blank area, you will see the table design tab will not be visible. Means this is not in a table. If you come to the data set, you will see table design and you will see the name of table which is given. So this data is already in the tabular format. Now if you see, the data is already there in the table format. Now, if you see, these are the field lists which are visible. Which are the field lists? So, if you see something which is known as product ID, this is the first field list or header basically. Then we have name of the product. Then we have product number. Then we have make flag. Then we have color, safety stock level, reorder point, standard cost, list price, size, size unit, unit weight, weight, then days manufacturer, product model, subcategory, category, product line, class, style, category ID, sell date, and discontinued date. So these are the data which are getting captured. Now, these are your field list. Basically, these are headers in your data set, right? Which is in the product data. And then we have something known as uh, order detail. So if you see order detail here, all the items that are individual items order is getting captured. So if you see, we have something known as sales order ID, then we have sales order detail ID, then we have carrier tracking number, then we have order quantity, then we have product ID, then we have special offer ID, then we have unit price, then you have unit price discount, and you have something known as line total. Right, so just now we have seen in the video, the line total is basically your revenue. So this is basically multiplication of unit price into quantity. So this is your line total. Line total is your revenue actually that is getting captured, right? Similarly, if you go to the order data, here you have all the unique orders that is getting placed. So this is basically heart of our data set, right? So what is getting captured? Sales order ID. Sales order ID will tell you unique orders that has been placed. So if you see, there are a lot of different orders that have been placed, right? So if you count all the sales order ID, you will get the total number of sales order that has been placed. Similarly, the next field list is order date. So you will see on which date order has been placed. Then we have something known as due date, which is the last date by which it should be shipped. And then we have something known as shipping date on which actual date it has been shipped. Then we have sales order number. Then this is known as purchase order number. Then we have account number. Then we have customer ID. Then we have salesperson ID. Then we have subtotal. Now subtotal is what? It is the total amount that is there for each individual order, right? For each order 43659, what is the subtotal? It is 20565.6. Then we have freight. That is basically charges that are there, and this is your total due. Now, this is most important subtotal. Now, what is the subtotal? See, 20565. Now, what is the subtotal? It is for ID number 43659. So, here is a unique order. And what is the subtotal? It is 20565. Now, if you go to the item list and if you see 43659, we have something total 12 items are there, right? And this 12 items consist of this much of quantity total and this much of unit price. So if you see the line total up till this one, so if you see up till 43659, you will see the summation over here at the bottom 20565. So if you sum all this individual line total, you will get something known as subtotal. So either you directly take the subtotal, which is will tell you the revenue, or you take the summation of this order, unique order total, which is a line total, right? So either way you are getting the revenue. So if you sum the line total, then also you are getting revenue, total revenue, and if you sum the subtotal, then also you will get the revenue. But why it is important to take line total? Because here the detailed bifurcation of each and every product with quantity is given. So that's why considering line total in our revenue analysis is the most important thing, right? Now, along with that, we have something known as departments. Now, if you see, we have different departments and the grouping of department is being done. And lastly, we have something known as HR. So here we have the data of employees which are there. So if you see here, what kind of fact is getting recorded? So if you see, this is also in a table format. The first row always determine the header. So we have employee ID, then we have national ID number, then we have contact ID, then we have manager ID, then we have title, birth date, marital status, gender, vacation hours, sick leave hours, department, group, rate, first name, last name, email address, and phone number. So these are the details that are getting captured. Now, most important thing is if you see we have department over here and we have group also over here. And if you see there is one another sheet in which data table is also there, which is a department sheet. Now this data is already there into the HR data table, right? Staff table. So we do not need to include this department into our data set. We do not need to pull this data into our data model. Why? Because this data already exists in HR database or HR file. So here you see, this is the entire table that we want to import into Power BI, right? What is the name of the table? It is LKP staff. right? If you see order table, it is known as orders. If you see the name of the table, it is already given because this is the name of query which is getting fetched in Power BI. Then we have order items table, then we have product table, and then we have customer table. Okay, so I hope you got the idea that what kind of data that we are having it, right? We have data related to customer where all the data, all the facts are getting recorded, right? In terms of customer ID, store name, account number, interest line 1, interest line 2, city, postal code, state, country code, and country. In product dimension or product data table, we have product ID, name, product number, make flag, color, safety stock level, reorder point, standard cost, list price, size, unit, weight, then weight unit, days manufacture, product model, subcategory, category, product line, class, style, and category ID, sell date, and discontinued date. Then we have HR, which is a dimension table, which is a staff dimension, right? We have employee ID, then we have national ID number, contact ID, manager ID, title, birth date, marital status, gender, vacation, sick leave hours, department, grouping, then rate, first name, last name, email address, and mobile number. So we have three dimension table. The first one is HR dimension, that is employee dimension. Then we have product dimension, and then we have customer dimension. And in the fact, we have something known as order sheet, order data, where the unique order revenue is getting captured in terms of subtotal, and we have something known as order item list in which detailed item wise breakup is given in terms of line total. Okay, so line total is basically the revenue which is important in our business analysis, right? Revenue is something which is a measure, right? We'll get to learn about measure, but as of now, you try to understand that line total. When you sum the line total is actually the revenue that is there inside our data set. Okay, so I hope you have understood the data and how we are going to connect it. So, say for example, here how we are going to connect. In customer data, we have something known as customer ID. And here in the order data, we also have something known as customer ID. So these are the primary key by which these two data tables are connected. Order data and customer data, they are connected with customer ID. If you see product data, it is connected with the, in product data, we have key known as product ID, which is connected with the order detail ID, which is known as product ID. You will see product ID, which is there in order detail also, and product ID in product data also. If you see the HR, in HR, we have something known as employee ID. So if you see employee ID, here employee ID is the name of the header, right? That is connected with something known as salesperson ID. Now here it is salesperson ID it is written, and here it is HR it is written employee ID. Why? Because here in this department there are different departments that are listed. So if you see we have a department which is known as the sales. Okay, so in business analysis when we are doing a sales analysis we need to pull the data of only salesperson. We do not need to include all the employees which are there in other department. Okay, so here because all the employees are listed over here, that's why the name of the header given here is employee ID. But this employee ID, when we filter the data by salesperson, it becomes the salesperson ID. So the salesperson ID has to be connected or linked or modeled with employee ID into our data set. Right. So this is how this HR data, order detail data, product data, and customer data are linked or basically relationship is being created. Okay. So I hope you got the idea regarding the data that we are going to use and pull in into our Power BI data model. Right. So if you have still any questions or any query or any doubt, then definitely you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.